Hi, Object Coder. I hope things are fine with you. I really like these minimal tests. It lets us spotlight or focus, what we want to look at. And for APIs, the real new thing that we're doing with APIs is the communication piece, right? We're basically having one system talk to another system, which is new. Once we get past that point, we're just into basic JavaScript, or just into basic coding, and we can handle that. We know that. So the communication piece is the new piece. So let's just focus on that. And we'll call it testing 1, 2, 3. That's all we're going to do. We're going to establish that the provider gives us that message, testing 1, 2, 3, and the consumer receives that message. So let's take a look at how we would make that happen. Let's start with the provider who's going to spit out that message. So the provider, it's pretty much what we've been doing. We're routing, so we're receiving a path, we're expecting a path like this. We expect that the path is going to be like that. And when we get it, we're just going to call this method here. And then that method there is going to construct a model and get the results from the model. And that model is giving just the message testing 1, 2, 3. And you can look at that. And then we're going to serve or return the results. So we do it in JSON format, which is a developer-friendly format. APIs are for developers, really. So that's all we do. Here's the results, and we're just then sending those to the response. As we know, the response is the request response is what is the data is sent back and forth between these systems. That's it on the provider side. So receive it, receive the URL path, route it, and then return just some very simple results. A message testing 1, 2, 3. Then the API consumer side. So this is a completely different system, different application. And the important thing in this one is the path. That is the phone number. If we're calling our friend or whoever with the phone number, we would have to dial that phone number. Same thing with the API. We have to have this phone number, or it's called a URL, and that's the important thing. And we send it right here, and then we actually have we specified here that the controller is going to show the result in the end. The data receiver, and you can look at that, is a very just general object that actually is just going to receive the data coming in. So that's a general common purpose object, and you can look at that if you want to. So that's all there is to it. We'll take a little look at the show of the result here in the controller. Just one line. We're just showing the result. And we're doing it using JSON here because it gives a nice, like we said, a nice user-friendly and developer-friendly format. And that's how it runs. Let's give it a run here and see if it works. And there's README files. Source code is right here, I should say. And there's README files there with just a couple steps to run it. And actually, we'll do those steps right now. So we have our consoles or command line interfaces open here, and let's get the provider on the top. I don't know why, but it just seems more logical. It tells us in the README files that we do an npm install for the provider, and you must need a couple modules, right? Then we do simply a node main, as we always do, and it's started up. Nothing's happening. It's just waiting. It's sitting there waiting. It's the provider. Now we're going to call it. We're now in the consumer application. We don't need to do an install in this one because it's just so simple. So we're going to do a node main again on this side, and there is the result. And we see that they're communicating. This thing spit out that it's just received something and spit out kind of some logging information. And on the consumer side, we actually got the message, and we're just showing it. So that's it. It seems very trivial, but it is actually pretty big because we have two different systems communicating. And that's what happens on the www, is that developers share this kind of logic functionality all across the web, and you can get almost any kind of information you want, consume it, and then process it and do cool things with it, mapping or what have you. So that's it, minimal test, and we'll talk to you soon.